What you doing? Where you at? Who you with? You're now tuned into the Heavy is the Crowd podcast. I'm your host, D.O. Malone. The artist, Most Blind. The brand, it's DelTha510. Let's go. I first want to start by saying that I've been given a foundation, a resource, and a platform to express my thoughts and opinions based upon my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of this life here. All men were created equal in my belief, but we don't think, nor are we all treated equally. And my intent is to gain and deliver knowledge to those in earshot. Shout out to my main man, number 5, for blessing me with the beat. What up, world? We're here. It's always been a pleasure to get a breath of fresh air, especially when talking to the unique hosts the unique guests that I have on my show. Man, that last pod was pretty intense, if you guys caught the last furlough of it. You know, that Henny will do that to you sometimes. It be that way. But you know, my intentions are good. But sometimes I be misunderstood. Didn't mean to yell at y'all. Just be passionate about stuff. You know, I'm trying to make sense of this life we got. You know, it's not getting any easier. And it's safe to say after this Supreme Court ruling we had the other day, it's safe to say that this shit's done hit the fan. You know, yeah, y'all can call distractions. Y'all can say, hey, it's, you know, this is just the way it is. Maybe we'll get into it. I don't know. We'll talk about it maybe. But I'm with my main man. He's been here since day one. So appreciative to be able to get his point of view on things. You know, very open-minded. In a world of sided people. It's like everybody wants to take a side. You got to be on this side, or you got to be on that side. But this man right here, man, the conversations that we had right before we started this pod, it almost ruined the pod. Because, you know, it was just you're talking about the real life scenarios, real life subjects, you know, things that we ain't necessarily proper to bring to this platform. But it's good to be able to have somebody to speak with when we deal with trials and tribulations. As he would say, counsel. It's good to have counseling. But I'm here with my main man, and I need y'all to give him a huge round of applause. He's back. Welcome back, George the Theologian. Give it up, y'all.
Thank you. It's good to be back. It's been quite a while. It's been a few months at least. But I'm usually here around a holiday, and
right, you're like the holiday guy.
Yeah,
you know
I'm like
saying?
the holiday guy. The last holiday I was.
You missed a couple holidays. We'd have missed Easter.
I think we missed Easter. Yeah, we did. But
we need to change that. We need consistency.
Maybe the closest holiday now.
4th of July?
Juneteenth. Well, yeah, the 4th of July, but I mean, we're kind of split in the middle between last Monday and July 4th. So we could celebrate both because they're both basically Americana holidays. I mean, they both have to do with Americana.
Yeah, you know, I have my own particular thoughts about Juneteenth and its whole. And
you do?
Yeah, and you know, it's not necessarily the most positive thing, even though it's meant to be, I guess, positive. But you know, I have my thoughts about that. But before we begin, shout out to my podcast pioneers prior to my arrival. Shout out to my loyalists and extremists, and shout out to my day ones in the last days. Shout out to the supporters of my success and the spectators of my demise. I'm at 163, I believe, subscribers. And I want to thank you guys 163 times. But yeah, my main man, what we got? Oh, so before we get too far into it, since the beginning, when we first started this journey together on this pod, you had spoke about these poems that you had.
Oh, the poems.
Yeah,
Yes.
man, and each, the few pods that we had, it just, we just didn't get around to it either because we couldn't get a hold of it, or we had so much other good things to talk about. But today,
All right, we're gonna do it today.
today, we have those said poems, and he's gonna read them off for us here shortly.
Whenever you're ready.
I mean, we don't necessarily need to begin into it, but if you want to.
All right, let's do it. Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right.
Now, we talked about this before. I wrote a couple poems. And one is on the lonely dandelion. So let me read that poem first. The lonely dandelion.
The lonely dandelion.
The lonely dandelion sits all day under the warm shine and lovely heat, reclining and bathing into the sun. The lonely dandelion bothers no one as it awaits its painful fate. Getting no respect, the lonely dandelion is trampled on and on by the thugging sounds of footsteps, which weigh heavy, painful cruelty upon it. Vroom, vroom goes the noisy lawnmower as it rips lonely dandelion to shreds and pieces. Why, may you ask, is there such brutal disdain and hatred for lonely dandelion, whose first cousins are the buttercup and daisy? Besides that, no one ever goes into a flower shop to buy lonely dandelion, who dresses in bright yellow softness every day. But lonely dandelion, with its yellow beauty, can go into all the great recipes for savory salads and wines, even enriching human hearts with a happy smile. So thank you, Lord God, for making lonely dandelion, which, as we know, has its special purpose in our world today.
Wait. Those were some bars. I didn't know you had bars like that. You need to put that on wax. You need to record that. That's a whole that was pretty nice, man. So we can consume dandelions?
Well, yeah, I've heard that immigrants use dandelions for wine and salads.
Salad.
Who made the salad? But I mean, yeah, there's a purpose for the dandelion.
Dandelion.
Everybody thinks it's a
wine.
weed. I guess, I've heard that it's classified as a weed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wildflower for sure.
I like weed.
That's, you mean the green stuff?
Yeah, dandelion's green, right? At least the stem is.
Yeah, the flower's yellow, though. But I mean,
Yeah, I remember back when I was a child, they used to do that thing where they picked a dandelion and it said, "Mama had a baby and her head popped off."
really?
And they used to pop the head off of the dandelion. Do you know about that? Did that happen in your time? Or?
No, I never heard that before.
Yeah, it was just something weird that, kids around me when we were younger would do.
But I think, though, when spring starts, like when, the beginning of spring, you always see dandelions all over the place. I mean, they're like, they're wild. They're like all over.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
It's definitely a wild flower. I mean, I wouldn't call it a weed, though. I think a weed is like something that eats good things,
Yeah.
takes away the good plants. So it's not a weed. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
So, have you ever consumed a dandelion before?
Never.
Never. Would you be willing to try a dandelion?
I'd be willing to try dandelion wine if somebody had the wine.
Me too.
I don't know if we could get. We probably that would probably be easier or more accessible. wine than the salad. You know what I mean?
Why you say that? Because there's a process of making that wine as opposed to like a dandelion salad. You could just pick it from the
No, but
grass and throw some ranch on top
The
of it,
dandelion
right?
wine might be in a wine store somewhere. You know?
Ooh.
Might be, you know.
Now, all the wines and spirits that I've come across in my day, never once have I had anyone mention to me or try to sell me or anything of that sort, dandelion wine, but I'd be willing to try it too.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, heck, I've eaten octopus, so why wouldn't I try?
Is that calamari? Is that what they call it?
No, calamari is squid.
Oh, squid. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw some in the grocery store yesterday over in Fallsby.
What, calamari?
Yeah, yeah.
And you've never tried that?
I think I have, but I think I'm going to try to cook some. I think I'm going to try to buy some and cook some next time.
Yeah.
I have tuna right now, like real tuna. You know, like the tuna. You know, not the tuna in a can, but the
Real tuna, like somebody caught it and then gave it to you, and it's still in the paper
like
bag.
chunks, the chunk of the fish. I'm gonna cook that, and then because I like to cook. You know, I just kind of like for a long time I couldn't really cook rice. I didn't it never came out right when I cooked it. But now I'm using the butter at the beginning, you know, to brown it, and then the water. You know what I mean? Like it.
Were you rinsing it before you started? Because sometimes you got to rinse it 2 or 3 times before you go and.
Well, I found that the butter helps. Like when you brown it first and then put the water in, it's better. And then I mix all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Like onions and I don't know.
A lot of people say, or suggest. A lot of people suggest that when it comes to cooking rice, that you want to rinse it a couple times before you go through that. Adding the butter and the.
Yeah.
All those little extra things to it.
I mean, I use a skillet and like an iron skillet.
Okay.
And also, but I mean, rice. It's becoming a good staple for me. Like I was using potatoes a lot as my staple.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But rice seems to fit better. I don't think there's as many calories.
In white rice as there is potatoes.
Yeah, like the potatoes, like it turns to sugar. You know.
Yeah. Well, they both are starchy foods.
Yeah, starches. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm for me, I think that the rice is better. I mean, I'm gonna eat potatoes. I'll never stop eating potatoes, but
Yeah, it's tough to
it's
stop
good to have.
eating.
It's good to have like a variety. I think.
Right. But it seems like you can get away with rice with a lot more dishes than you could potatoes. I mean,
yeah,
but,
probably. But you can mix. The thing is, you could probably mix more foods with rice.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can mix tuna, you can mix steak, you can mix peppers, onions, blah blah blah.
Right.
But I mean, with potatoes, I don't think you can mix as much stuff. I mean, I know you can have potato salad, but I mean that's a mayonnaise type.
Yeah, yeah. Now, when it comes to tuna, I've never been a real big fan of tuna, but I always enjoyed as a youth when my mother made it was tuna salad. That was the only time I really ate tuna.
Really?
I would have tuna salad on rice cakes.
Wow.
That was the delicacy as
Do
a youth.
you remember like tuna in a can, like Bumblebee? And
Oh yeah, we still get it at the food pickup.
I even remember the Starkist tuna commercial.
Yeah.
Don't just get any tuna. Get Starkist. Get Starkist. Don't just get any tuna. Get Starkist.
You've been in high demand lately, George. There's people been reaching out to me here and there, and even today when I made the post, they were like, "Man, when you gonna get George back on? He's such a breath of fresh air when it comes to all the guests that you have on the pod." And I'm like, "What? Like everybody else is stagnant?" And they're like, "No, he's just, you have a unique perspective on just a lot of things, and you're really open-minded, and you would think someone with, the knowledge and pieces of paper with calligraphy on it that state, your qualifications, and normally somebody that's so well intelligent as yourself seem to, a lot of people are just like one-sided about things, and in this day and age, it seems like we're so divided now,
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Thank you very much, monsieur.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But anyway, thank you.
My man.
I'm an old man. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Took some time to get to that point, huh?
I probably mellowed out now. I'm mellowed out now.
Yeah.
Like a good wine, right? No,
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
Or some fermented hooch.
I like my beer. I like my wine. All in moderation.
Everything in moderation, including moderation, right?
Yeah, sometimes I like a little, a little whiskey in a glass. You know, kind of like a glass like this,
Right.
and a little whiskey to go with the beer. You know what I mean? Just, smooth tasting whiskey. You know.
What's your favorite whiskey?
Well, it's been. I'm trying to think. Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark.
Yeah, Maker's Mark's been usually the brand I've been, But I'm not really fussy. I mean, but that seems to be a real smooth whiskey.
I enjoy Maker's Mark as well. That would probably be my preferred whiskey overall. You know, I also like the bottle too. The bottle's pretty fashionable.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
In today's news, where would you like to start?
Today's news. Okay, so usually when we do the show, I've noticed a pattern. We usually talk about politics, sports, and religion. The three most common topics that people talk about every day. And in the news, well, we've had a couple things. Usually the Supreme Court works in June. Well, they usually make their rulings in June, as a lot of people know. And there were two rulings in the last week, actually. The one on New York with the concealed carry. Okay.
Right. And how's that? And what's going on with that?
Well, basically, New York was restricting the concealed carry for the owners, and it was harder for them. And finally, the Supreme Court came out and kind of helped them out a little bit with the right to bear arms and that amendment plus the concealed carry that they have a right for that.
Yeah.
To take it out of their house. Okay.
Yeah.
In that way. So that was one ruling, and then the other ruling, as many people know, is the overturning of the federal mandate of Roe versus Wade, which began in 1973 when the federal government got involved with abortion. Okay, and it legalized basically federally abortion. Okay, but the ruling on Thursday, I believe it was Thursday, or Friday, maybe Friday.
Yeah, it was just a couple days ago.
Yeah, Friday. Was the fact that the federal government basically revisited the 1973 ruling and discovered that it was really based on a protest. It was more protesting by women for abortion than what the Constitution actually stated. So the Supreme Court rules based on the Constitution. Okay, it doesn't rule based on protest, or it wants to know what's in the Constitution for abortion. So that's why it basically stated that there's nothing in the Constitution that legalizes abortion, and basically they left it up to the 10th Amendment or the states. So each state now will rule on abortion. Each person basically will vote in their legislature, for their state legislatures or local government, in terms of Planned Parenthood, places where they would have abortion or not, and they would elect state legislators that want abortion or not want abortion. So it's up to the states now. The states are going to rule on abortion.
And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, right?
Well, abortion, the thing people
not abortion, but for the states to have that determination now.
Well, yeah, the states basically have the power now. Each state has its own control of this issue,
right?
Of this procedure,
right?
This. I mean, I think it's a horrifying, grueling procedure, especially the late term 9 month up to birth. I mean, that's to me is like
I agree.
That's butchery to me. And
it's murder.
And none of this happened in 1973. So abortion's really kind of like gotten to the extreme. I mean, it's gotten way, way off. The mark from 1973, being on demand and being up to the up to the birth in some states like New York.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, to make a long story short,
Before you go forward, though, Ill Will from the Killerville said, "Salute to George, one of my all-time favorite guests."
thank you, Ill
Yeah.
Will.
Yes, sir. But continue. I'm sorry.
So anyway, to make a long story short, the states now will basically control this issue. The federal government no longer will be involved, and the Supreme Court, it might take some cases here and there if they're like iffy, or how the Supreme Court rules. I mean, it will basically decide on certain issues.
Yeah.
But for now, they're Roe versus Wade is back into the states, and like I said, a lot of people are celebrating, but
A lot of people are protesting too.
yeah, but abortion really hasn't ended. I mean, it hasn't ended in the nation. I mean, it's still going to exist in certain states. That's what people. That's the reality of it. I mean,
Right.
you're either a realist or an idealist. I mean, idealists can celebrate. Oh, Roe versus Wade got overturned. Da da da.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're pro-life, I mean, I'm pro-life. I don't believe that abortion helps your society. I mean, you're losing babies that can be men for an army. I mean, you're basically losing your army in your nation through abortion. Think about it. But there's more to it than that. You're losing human life. You're losing the value of life, and it's making your society look weak. But
let me interject. Not to interrupt, just let me interject, because you did cover one question that I had for you. I didn't know if it was going to be too personal, but are you pro-life, pro-choice, and anti-abortion, whatever the case may be? And you said you were pro-life. I'm pro-choice. There's always an exception to the rule when it comes to any type of law that's, put down. But the thing that I can't help but to not overlook certain things like, okay, well, a lot of people want to get rid of abortion, but yet my personal view is I kind of feel like we're slightly overpopulated. But in the same sense, I also feel like abortions and Planned Parenthood, things of that nature, was here to destroy the minority. And now we done gotten to the point in population. I know they keep saying like it's 13, 14% of America's population are black or what have you. But there's so many mixed ethnicities out there now that the mixed ethnicity is now, I feel, the majority. So my questions that I have for you is, don't you think, because I'm against late-term abortion too, but yet the exception to the rule is like, what if it's affecting the health of the mother? What about? And I'll give you a couple things, and then I'll give you the floor.
It's a lot. I mean, abortion.
Because like 6 weeks, some of the states have it where it's 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of women don't find out that they're pregnant until the 5th or 6th week.
Well, the church, the church that I belong to, basically states that only in the for the life of the mother, if it's in danger, can abortion occur. That one instance for
Right.
for the life of them, if the mother's life is in danger, like you said. So I mean, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, we're not really talking about those situations. I mean, we're talking about like abortion on demand. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And
But who are we as men to determine
Why not?
how a woman what she should do with her
Why not?
body.
Do you have to be a rapist to do you have to experience rape to know what a rapist is? I mean, again, these are idealistic defenses that people use, okay, and they're not necessary. I mean, let's be real. Okay?
I just feel like if the Supreme Court could do this to this and then put the power in the states, and like now the states, when
They get
there's
to
health
vote.
issues, you could the doctors, the death panel or whomever you want, however you want to label them, they could become selective into what is really a valid cause to go through with an abortion.
A woman,
You know what I mean?
if a woman wants an abortion, she's going to get it. She's going to go somewhere to get it.
Right.
Because
But if you want an abortion in Ohio, you're going to have to travel to
I don't know. Why do
California
you say Ohio?
or well, I'm just using it as the state that we're in. I'm just
As far as I know, with Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I think they have the heartbeat law, which means you can't get an abortion after the heart starts beating.
okay.
I believe that's Ohio law. But I mean, there a lot of the states are going to have limitations. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to allow abortions, but they're going to have limitations on the length of the pregnancy. Okay?
Right.
So that's the way it's going to work. And I'm talking reality. I'm talking about what's real. Okay, this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had debates on this issue with like I mean, most of them are women, of course. Okay, well there was a guy,
Uh-huh.
but I mean they're always. I mean, it's a woman's body, da da da. But it's also a baby's body. Okay.
Right.
They talk about choice and decision and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The thing about Ruth Bader Ginsburg is the fact that
Who's that and what's that about?
well, she was the Supreme Court justice that died recently, and she was basically a lot of women look to her like the feminist movement.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with the feminist movement, but a lot of the feminist movement, she was their hero for like abortion rights and stuff. And she basically would say that it's a woman's right to decide and to choose. Well, the thing that she leaves out, though, is the fact that, and she says basically the government shouldn't get involved. Okay, well, let's piece that out. I mean,
Let's piece it out.
basically she's using those words idealistically: choice, decision, the government not get involved. But really, what she's saying is she wants the government to grant a license to kill a baby. She wants to grant the government a license to kill that unborn. Okay?
Okay.
So that's not decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's not choice. That's a license to kill. And the government is involved, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a, I don't know, I don't want to say oxymoron comment, but she's leaving basically the reality out. She's trying to make something idealistic
Mm-hmm.
when in reality, it's not that. The words decision, choice, it's no decision or choice to kill something, to kill life.
Right.
In fact, so as a Supreme Court justice, she wants the government to grant this license to abort, this license to kill. That's what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That's reality. It has nothing to do with decision or choice.
Yeah.
The choice to kill. I mean, the choice to kill is that really a choice? The choice to to abort and kill an unborn.
It's. I think overall, it's about finding that. Because, like I said, I'm pro-choice, but then
Choice to what though? What are you choosing?
letting the mother choose.
But she's choosing. If she aborts, she's choosing to kill. Is that a good choice?
What,
It's not a good choice for the unborn. The problem is
What's worse though?
what's worse.
What's worse? A woman killing a child that she conceived. That choice, or like us as or soldiers from the U.S. going and killing people in other countries over all the wrong reasons.
The unborn's defenseless. It has no defense. I mean, why should you be allowed to kill something defenseless, innocent? That unborn didn't do anything wrong. What did the unborn do? Why are you killing? I mean, war is different. War is a lot different, you know?
But that would be considered a war inside one's body, don't you think?
A war, I mean, a war against some life that's innocent?
I definitely think that when women who just, go about getting abortions without any type of thought process and they're just doing it because that's just what they're accustomed to, I think that overall affects their mind and their psyche over time. Like that process taking it out of their body, I think that really does something to a woman. You know what I'm saying? And a man too, But
some do go through trauma.
Yeah.
From that abortion, that procedure. It's a horrifying procedure.
Especially the late term abortions. But I don't think that we need to completely eliminate it because there's plenty of things that happen, a lot of things that take turns for the worse throughout the process of the growth of that child in the mother's stomach. You know what I mean? So just be like, so to just eliminate it or put such a small or tight restriction on it, saying 6 weeks.
Why should a mother kill her own unborn fetus, embryo, child, potential human, potential fully grown human being? Why should she decide to kill? Why should she have a choice to kill?
Her body, her choice, they say.
No, but why? Okay,
health reasons. My defense against this is because of health reasons.
But she's living. She's living. Why does she have the right as a living human being to decide that? I mean,
okay.
She's happy and glad that she wasn't aborted, was she not? I mean, if you ask all these people that are in favor of abortion, they're very happy and glad that they weren't aborted. Okay.
Right.
Why don't they give that same,
that same energy,
that same favor, to the unborn that they had, that same, same decision? Why don't they give that to the unborn? They don't want to do that. I mean, to me, that's selfish. I don't know. And you know what I've discovered too, that a lot of these, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she never ended her pregnancies or aborted any of her unborn. A lot of these protesters have never done that. They've never aborted or they've never ended their pregnancies.
Mm-hmm.
So why would somebody contemplating abortion, thinking, like a young woman contemplating, why would they look up to Ruth or look up to somebody that would never get an abortion? I mean, they're not heroes for abortion. They're not.
Yeah.
They're trying to be heroes for themselves. To me, I mean, they're trying to, to me, it's selfish. I mean, if you would never get an abortion, if you're a woman and you would never get an abortion or end your pregnancy, why should a woman thinking about it go to you?
I know in the 1900s.
You're not their hero. I mean, you can't explain to them what it's like. You don't know the issue, really. I mean, so they blame men. Men don't know it. The issue. You're not a woman. Da da da. But I mean,
I think
they've never ended their pregnancies. Yet they march around and they do this. And I think it's travesty. I think it's just. I think the woman contemplating the abortion is not really getting the help. That's what I'm saying. Okay, not getting real help. Because most of these people, Michelle Obama, all these people, never would terminate a pregnancy. They admitted it.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't personally do it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't completely disagree with you, but there's just some circumstances that you have to play factor with it, and to completely eliminate it. I'm all for giving the states the power to make the determination with that, but it's just, I feel like by eliminating that option for a woman,
It's not really being eliminated, the option, though.
Yeah, because you could travel to another state. I understand. If it's not going on in your state, you could travel to another state. I think as long as there's healthy restrictions to it, like I said, okay, the 6-week thing, like I think they might have that in like Iowa, maybe some other places.
A lot of the states are going to eliminate abortion, probably. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. Why did I say a lot? I know some states will.
There'll be a few. There'll be a few.
Maybe Mississippi. I don't know. I mean, I don't know which states will.
Mississippi still had slavery up until recently.
Well, I compare the two issues basically. What I've done is, in terms of the research, slavery divided the country, North, South, Civil War, blah blah blah. Okay, the Supreme Court allowed slavery to exist for what, more than 100 years, probably, right?
Absolutely.
And then you had Lincoln's Amendment, the 14th, I believe, 14th.
Right. That was like 1863 or something like that.
Yeah.
1865.
And I think it was passed when he was deceased, but I mean.
But Emancipation Proclamation thing. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, but let's say this: the Supreme Court eventually got it right. That's the point I'm trying to make. The Supreme Court eventually got it right, ending slavery. All right. Well, in this case too, Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court eventually got it right because they value human life. The Constitution values human life. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Okay? There's nothing in the Constitution that states that anyone has a right or a license to kill another life. Okay? Another human being. All right?
But we shouldn't have the Army then. We shouldn't have the Marines. We shouldn't have.
You got to defend your country. What do you mean?
Everyone
has a right to
I'm far-fetched. I'm far-fetched to find the last conflict that we've had overseas that we were actually defending our country.
Well, I mean, you could talk about defending your home. You could talk about defending your property. I mean, everyone has a right to defend.
We have a bigger problem with domestic terrorists than we do international.
I'm not into wars and choosing to go to war. I mean, I'm not into that. I'm definitely not into that.
Right.
But I mean,
we do need a level of defense for our own country.
I mean, World War II probably was. I mean, didn't America have to go into World War II? I mean, there's no way you could not justify that taking part in that war. I mean,
that was the one with Germany.
Yeah, Germany and Pearl Harbor, Germany. I mean, Germany. They were ruthless. They were just they were taking over Europe, all of Europe, and even going to the eastern part of Europe. So yeah, I mean,
the corporate companies running this.
They had to be stopped. Hitler had to be stopped.
Yeah, and I think somewhere along the line, these corporate businesses in America need to be stopped because they're destroying our country.
Well, now you're talking about another subject.
Yeah,
capitalism.
We are. Yeah, absolutely.
Big oil, big corporations.
Man, they're making so much money. But before we get into that itself, let me backtrack a little bit because we were addressing the two situations of the abortion and the Supreme Court talking about New York and their gun laws. So let me ask you this: in areas of high crime, such as New York, because in New York, crime has skyrocketed. I'm talking about 300%. Okay. Do you think we should bring back, or they should bring back, stop and frisk, or you think stop and frisk is not a good thing?
I don't think they should bring back stop and frisk. I think stop and frisk is kind of
intrusive.
I think it violates your rights to some degree, and I think there can be racism and prejudice in that process, and I think the officers, I mean, I like police. I'm not against police, but I think you can get away with more with stop and frisk. I mean, you could be prejudiced and nobody knows. You could hide your. What I'm saying is, you could hide your prejudice and your racism through stop and frisk.
Mm-hmm.
New York City basically is what we're talking about, and basically when they were controlling the crime, they had police officers on the street, and really they stopped doing that a lot in a lot of places because of the last mayor they had.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got to basically start, putting policemen on the streets again.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of crimes near the subways.
Right.
Pushing people, stabbing, pushing people in,
But
the
now
tracks.
with New York, man, you see crime of all sorts happening in all different
Thefts.
boroughs and everything. So that's coming to a city near you. And in the big cities, that's it's going on. Chicago, LA.
It depends on where you live. It all depends on where you live and what kind of legislatures you have in your state.
So
California is definitely like way out there. I mean, and basically they in LA they've basically they're trying to get petitions to get rid of this district attorney out there because of the crime. It's just they don't really put people in jail. I don't know why they do it. I don't know why they let people out of jail.
I mean, they do that here. People aren't getting prosecuted properly.
Yeah, there's no bail laws, and they put criminals back on the streets, and then they kill people. And I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it just does not make sense. I mean, if you commit a crime, you should go to jail.
I agree.
Simple as that. I mean,
but it's costing us taxpayers so much to fill up these jails.
well, I don't know. I don't know about that.
I know I at least know the numbers of Ohio that a regular cop on the beat makes the same amount. Is roughly, now, mind you, I haven't necessarily equated the inflation rate in there, but we'll say right around $40,000, whether you're a CO, a cop on the beat, what have you. But a normal police officer on the beat is getting roughly $40,000, right, a year. That's what they make. That's the same. It costs the same amount to house a prisoner in prison in Ohio as it does to pay a cop on the beat. So literally, that police officer job is to lock up that criminal in that prison, or catch that criminal, get him locked up, and when that criminal goes to prison, his own tax dollars are going to that prisoner. And it costs just as much to house one inmate as it does to pay a cop a year on the beat.
Oh, yeah, and the thing is that one of the reasons why the prisons are overcrowded is because, I mean, they've got people in there for marijuana still. I mean, they got to get rid of these. I mean,
the marijuana laws.
Yeah,
they got to just decriminalize it.
I mean,
that's one thing.
Those are petty crimes. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's like selling booze or something. You know what I mean? Now it's coming out basically that it's it's being legalized.
But how do you?
I mean, if it's legalized, look, just think this.
Okay.
If marijuana is legalized in a lot of states or enough states, how can that be a crime in other states? You know what I mean? Like you're getting people in jail because of marijuana. I mean, you're gonna crowd your jails just with that. I mean, come on, that's silly to me. That's just like,
I agree.
Find the person. You don't need to put them in jail. If you have a ban against marijuana, then find the person, like a speeding ticket or something like that. I mean,
convicting people.
Why put somebody in jail for that? That's my point.
Because convicting people of petty crimes is big business.
Probably. I don't know. Somebody's making money, right?
Yeah, somebody is. It's not us. Man, the price of everything has gone up, man. And I think even more this fall, we're going to see it hit us even harder.
Even the price of nothing has gone up, they say.
Man, we could barely pay attention right now. There's so much stuff that's dividing us, and the inflation rate, gas, $5 a gallon. What's your thoughts?
$5 a gallon. Well, the big oil is making the money here. Oil, because they can get away with it. This is how they make their profits. Big oil, because they can seize an opportunity, and they're doing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
They seize an opportunity, and they make their money. And yeah, it'll go down a little bit. I think it's down to maybe $4.80 now in Ohio, something like that.
Yeah, but that's still ridiculous though.
But it was 5 for a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to go up even further as time progresses. It's
It's a shame. It's one of the worst things
what,
going on in America is the gas spike, the spike in gas, because 2 years ago it was like 235. The last presidential administration, was 225, 235 a gallon. I mean, I don't think we should pay more than $3 for a gallon of gas in America. Really, seriously.
a lot of people say that it's
we
not.
Have plenty of reserves, oil.
I agree, and I've had that debate with quite a few people myself that we're sitting on so much surplus of oil that we should be able to just release it in abundance and just let drop these gas prices down. But a lot of people will say, there's people out there will say that this current administration is not to blame for the gas hike.
No, I don't think you should.
Because it's going on across all the world.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should blame Biden for. Well, I mean, he should take some blame for the gas thing, because he's the one that kind of shut down the the pipeline and all that. So gas did go up because of that.
But that pipeline that was shut down
Yeah.
wasn't even being refined in this country. That gas was being sent elsewhere to be refined.
No, but he did a lot of things to really stop us producing oil in our own country.
I agree.
But I mean that shouldn't hike the gas to what it is right now. That should not do it. I mean, you can't blame Biden totally. Like I said, I really put more of the blame on big oil, the big oil companies, because they know they're seizing an opportunity here. That's what they're doing. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
So as far as it comes with the Keystone Pipeline, this was an interesting tidbit of information that I gathered from somebody who's actually on the oil and gas field working in that occupation. They said the Keystone Pipeline, which is a pipeline that delivers Canadian tar sands oil, we don't even refine in this country, and it's still operational, and it moves 1.2 barrels a day. So, and this guy was also saying that we are still energy independent despite what the media tells us,
Oh, it could be energy independent. Gas shouldn't be what it is. It shouldn't be 5. In some states it's 7. I mean, I think in California, it shouldn't be that high.
Ridiculous, man. I mean, there's no business us paying $7 for a gallon of gas.
Yeah, you have to change your lifestyle. You can only drive like when you do your errands, you got to do, you got to do them all. Like if you're driving to, one part of the city, you got to do them all that day in that particular area. You can't keep going back. You know what I mean? Like.
And I know you can attest just as well as I can. In the part of town where we're from, a lot of the things that we need isn't closely accessible. We have to drive up the hill or drive across the other side of town.
We don't have a grocery store down here.
Produce.
And that's the thing. I mean, some days maybe you can't. I try not to drive every day. Really, I mean.
Right. Remember Sunday drives? Like on a Sunday, you just get in your vehicle and just go take a couple laps around town, or
now it's Sunday walks.
I mean, I guess that's good since there's a lot of they consider a lot of Americans to be overweight.
I mean, it's going to change us. Change the way we live for sure. High gas prices until they go down.
But I mean, meat prices.
Yeah, everything's gone up. That's the thing. Meat, especially. Oh my gosh,
it's ridiculous, right?
Steak was like $27 a pound, like a ribeye.
Yeah.
I saw it yesterday. I couldn't believe it.
I don't even want to know what it's like in restaurants now.
You can't go out to eat and get a ribeye.
It's really like the price of food to buy and cook at home is damn near the same price as it is to go out to a restaurant and eat now. It's
candy bars. What are candy bars? Did they go up too?
I don't know. I haven't ate a candy bar in a long time. As I gotten older, My sweet tooth has dissipated.
Remember Nestle's? Nestles.
Do they still have Nestle Crunch?
Makes the very best chocolate. Remember that commercial?
Yeah, they also
Nestles. Nestle's makes the very best.
they also
chocolate.
Nestle, the company, also steals water from ponds.
Nestle's.
Yeah, Nestle, the company. They
What was the big? Hershey was the big candy bar company. Hershey.
Yeah.
They supplied chocolate to the servicemen in the wars, and chocolate was really they had chocolate bars. The soldiers, that was in their kit, and
in their MRE kit or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Meal ready to eat. That's what they call it.
And I saw it. Like I recently saw an old wrapper where it said something like how chocolate was very nutritious. I mean, maybe it was made different then.
Chocolate is very nutritious if you have actual chocolate. But the thing about it is this secret recipe in the chocolate that you know of that is of Hershey's or Nestle, that's really not real chocolate. That's not the
so maybe
real
back
chocolate.
then they made it more organic.
And it's dark chocolate that really has those things in it that's good for you. Yeah. Little antioxidants.
Well, I mean, Hershey's from Hershey, PA, Hershey, Pennsylvania. Everybody knows that.
Right, big business.
Or most people.
Yeah, big corporation.
But they're still in business, Hershey.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, the price of everything has gone up except beer. Beer is the only thing, because I was in a restaurant yesterday. I was in the Mexican restaurant up on Sunset.
I haven't had Mexican or ate out in a long time.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they were telling me about how food prices were like the meat prices had gone way up.
Mm-hmm.
But they said that the beer hadn't. That the beer stayed the same. So they could still give you the same amount of beer in a glass. I think my glass was 34 ounces.
Woo!
For $4.99.
Woo!
Yeah. I like that big beer in the big glass.
A draft.
Yeah, definitely a draft. It was like off the, whatever, the draft. Yeah, the draft.
What's your favorite cut of steak?
Steak?
Mm-hmm.
I like the New York, what do they call that?
New York strip?
Yeah.
I like New York strip as well.
Yeah. London broil's good.
Agreed.
Good.
Agreed. I mean, man, it's not too many bad cuts of
Eye of the
steak.
Round. Is it Eye of the Round? I think that's a good one too.
Yeah. So
anyway, we got that in the.
What do you think, before we go on to a lighter subject? What do you think it's going to take to get, or it's a two-part question. What do you think it's going to take for us to get back to the way we were as far as like prices? How do we eliminate this inflation? How do we get things back to an affordable price?
Well, the thing is, the price of things.
Oh, it's just my light that went out.
Oh, okay. The price of things is based on supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, low supply means higher prices.
Mm-hmm.
High supply means lower prices.
So you have to create a demand for it again by
Well,
lowering
and
the
also
surplus.
you have to lower. Sometimes you have to lower taxes,
Mm-hmm.
or like shipping charges, stuff like that. Remember, all this stuff is being, it's being transported.
Right, by trucks.
Yeah. So
And they're really being pinched right now with the price of fuel.
yeah. So the price of fuel, just diesel fuel, actually is a lot more than gasoline fuel. So that really bumps up the price of goods that go interstate,
Mm-hmm.
across the states.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. So, what's really going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Tell me what's
is
gonna
in
happen.
November. In November, you're going to get new people in office.
Mm-hmm.
House of Representatives, the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a new Congress. And what's going to happen is they're going to legislate a lot differently. And hopefully the price of... We're in a recession right now. We already know that we're in a recession right now.
So we're not headed to a recession. We're in one.
We're in one right now.
Okay.
So that means everything's high. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation's almost, what is it, 7-8%?
Yeah.
Could go to 10. Okay?
Yeah.
The thing that's really helping us the most is the fact that employment is still good. Like, people are, there's still work out there for people.
But the chairman of the Federal Reserve, it said, I think his last name's Powell or something. It said in one of his statements or speeches that he made the other day that he wants to create more unemployment. In a loose term, to increase the unemployment is the way that we're going to get the inflation to stop. But it's really not going to affect food and gas.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I do know this. If the sign of a depression, which is worse than a recession,
Okay.
is when you have high unemployment, when people can't work, can't pay their bills, can't pay their rents.
I think that's happening
can't pay
right
their
now.
Loans. When they can't get jobs, that's what caught, like, during the Depression, we had like 30-something% unemployment in the country. I think it might have been up to 35.
Because $40,000 used to be middle class.
1 out of 3 people weren't working. Now the thing is now, though, they say there's a lot of stopgaps now.
Stopgaps?
Yeah, like
What's that?
Well, like preventive measures that the Depression didn't have. And I'll give you an example. You have more. You have like food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
You have like social programs. You have social programs that can help people in tough times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Though it is tough for single able-bodied people to acquire and keep food stamps. We had that discussion before the pod, but go on.
Well, yeah, I mean, the country really, the government doesn't want anyone to starve, and it tries its very best to prevent that. And like I said, there's a lot of social programs, not only federally but on the state level as well,
Mm-hmm.
for people in need.
Food banks. We got a lot more food banks than what we had before, which is good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's food banks. There's places where people. I know the CAC. What is it? Citizens Action Council.
Yeah.
They post jobs. It's like a place where you can go, and they help people find jobs. They can do resumes for the person or help them do the resume.
Mm-hmm.
They if a person needs a phone, they can get a phone through them.
Mm-hmm.
A government phone.
Mm-hmm.
Their own phone.
Mm-hmm.
So they do a lot of things, and I'm not against that. I think I think people need that.
Right.
People need those things.
But what do we do to lower stop this inflation?
Stop the inflation. You got to get the prices down. You got to get the prices down. You got to get you got to get the supply and demand.
Because people who are making $15 an hour now are barely getting by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's gonna. Recessions take time. We had recessions when Bush was president, Bush the Jr.
Yeah, and he handed out that little $300 check. I think little $300 stimulus check. I think they did.
Well, there's probably going to be more stimulus checks in the future, I think.
But that's not helping the thing. You see what the last stimulus checks.
Yeah. You got to be careful with that because that can create inflation. Because the more money you print, the higher the inflation. So you got to be careful. But there's other ways the government can do things as well. Like they can,
create some healthier subsidies for people to not have to pay so much for whatever they're trying to purchase.
Yeah. They can cut back on spending. The government too.
I completely agree, but there's some spending that really needs to be done from the government. Like, I know when Obama was in office, he had spent a lot of money for transportation and the roads, and repair the roads and such. But it seems like every year, at least in Ohio, man, these roads get so tore up and we just can't hold them together,
Well, yeah, Ohio and West Virginia. I think West Virginia's worse. They usually have to fix their roads. It seems like every 3 years or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like you go over that bridge, into West Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and they're working on that road, you know, that state road, nice road, every 2 or 3 years, I noticed.
Yeah. What? State Route 2?
Yeah, Route 2.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And I think what it is, no, it's 22. It's 22.
22?
Yeah, 22, the straight that goes all the way to
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
okay. Yeah, 22.
But
Yeah.
anyway, it seems like every 3 years they're like, you know, resurfing that and digging it up and putting new rods or concrete in it, and
Yeah.
you know. Anyway, to make a long story short, I think the problem with the roads is, I think it's assault on the trucks in the winter,
Yeah.
and I think the plows really. See, I look at that. I look at the snow plows and the salt as really ruining the roads so much.
But they do step on it some. They do kind of,
know how to say
lack a better term, water it down with, like, they put sand and other, like, things in it. So it's just not like pure salt that's out there. But I do agree with you that
No, but
You
if you
know.
go to Connecticut, okay, where I grew up, they use sand. They just use sand. They don't use salt. I don't know. Maybe now they do. I don't know.
but sand doesn't melt the ice, does it?
Sand. They used to put sand on the roads when I was growing up, and
Mm-hmm.
and basically in the spring and summer you'd see all the sand on the side. You know, it was all on the side, like you
Yeah.
could have all the, you know. But I mean, I don't know. I never had problems driving, you know, in the winter.
Yeah.
Of course, the cars were bigger then, you know.
Yeah,
They
steel
weighed more.
bumpers,
They
chrome
weighed
bumpers.
more.
Yeah.
And I didn't slide. I never really slid around like now.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, cars are lighter now. They I guess they can, you know.
Yeah. Less
slide
weight
more.
and skid around and
Yeah.
such.
But if you have a lot of weight, I mean, like I said, you know, I think it's the salt that destroys the roads and the plows, and maybe they need to be trained better. The state workers, or the city workers, or whatever, county workers. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that seems to be a problem. Maybe they want you know. Sometimes I think the government wants problems, though. You know? They want no, really. I'm saying this because I think they want problems to basically say, well, you know, we got to improve.
We need
this.
to intervene.
Yeah, we need more workers. You know, we need more of this, and you know, they want more money. You know, it's about money. It seems. I don't know.
Yeah, money's the motivator. So what about your Boston teams? What's going on with them? You know, Boston Celtics lost in the NBA Finals. They got twomped. By the Golden State Warriors.
My Celtics, I'll tell you. They're heroic in some ways, though. I mean, they didn't have a really good beginning, but they finished pretty strong. They improved the whole season.
Yeah, they were the first place losers.
Well, I mean, they fought hard, though. I mean, they fought hard in the playoffs. You know, they had a really tough. They probably had the toughest playoff route to get to the finals.
It was really physical. They were playing some really physical
Remember, they had
games all the way up until
Brooklyn.
the finals.
Brooklyn. They
Yeah.
had to play Brooklyn. They had to play Miami. Well, they had to play Milwaukee. Brooklyn. They had to play Brooklyn, Milwaukee, last year's champs, and then Miami
Yeah.
to get to the finals. Now
But Milwaukee didn't have doggone Middleton.
no, they didn't have Middleton. But you know what, though? They were a tough team. That the Greek freak. I hate to even use the word freak. The guy is like talented. You know, he's so talented.
It's like a freak of nature. Because you don't see the reason he's a freak is because you don't see.
He plays hard. He's a good.
He's a great player, extremely
athlete.
skilled, talented.
Yeah.
You know, but he's just like he's abnormally large. I mean, he's worked on his body. You see how like
He's a tough
ripped
opponent.
up he is.
He's a tough opponent. I'm telling you.
And that Euro step, man, it takes up so much doggone space.
I know. I mean, he's like, you know, his steps are incredible.
So we were speaking earlier before the pod about Steph Curry and his teammates, and you were telling me that, you know,
Well-
Thompson and Draymond Green, you don't think belong necessarily right now in the Hall of Fame? You don't think they're Hall of Famers?
I don't think Thompson is. I don't think Draymond Green is a Hall of Famer. I do think that
4 rings
Steph
as a
Curry-
starter.
Yeah, but I mean, he's on the right team. I mean, you know, you had guys that had got a lot of rings that aren't in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
Right, but were they necessarily starters?
let me ask you this: Is it Robert Torrey?
Robert Horry,
Horry, is
Big
he-
Shot Bob.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
He is. Okay.
Absolutely. And it's not,
He's got 6 rings, right?
he's got like 8.
He's got
He-
8. I was thinking about him. I was thinking, geez, this guy. You know, nobody ever talks about Robert
Oh no, Shaq talks about him all the time. I mean, Shaq and Kobe wouldn't have got those rings without Big Shot Bob making, I think, 2 or 3 solid shots. Just like, everybody gives LeBron flack when he was in Miami because Ray Allen saved his career, by making that one big corner 3.
Oh yeah, but I don't have any problems with LeBron, man. I think he's the best today.
The best today?
Well, I mean, he's getting older now, so he's near the end of his career. But he's a good player, and so is Steph Curry. There's a lot of good players today.
Robert Horry has 7.
He has 7.
Yeah.
But when you watch the NBA today, compared to like when I grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s,
mm-hmm.
these players are phenomenal now. Their 3-point shooting is like 2-point shooting.
Mm-hmm.
They just, when the 3-point shot first came out,
mm-hmm.
it was really it was a rare thing. I mean, a lot of guys didn't take. I mean, it was rare to take a 3-point shot.
Right, and I mean, even back then, they didn't implement
they didn't take a lot of
3-pointers until like 1980, was it?
They didn't take in the 80s. They didn't take a lot of 3-point shots though. That's my point. But now they're taking a lot of 3-point shots, and they're driving to the hoop. I watched my Celtics. Like I said, Tatum and I'm trying to think who else. They were driving. They were trying to drive as well. Besides shoot outside. I mean, it wasn't like they were gunners.
But the thing was, I felt like though they are extremely great players,
Jalen Green,
Jaylen Brown,
Jaylen.
And Jason Tatum, they aren't necessarily the strongest ball handlers.
Yeah. That was a weakness. We turned the ball over too many times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to improve. Marcus Smart was outstanding.
Yes, agreed.
Horford.
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Al Horford.
Al Horford was phenomenal at 35.
Yeah.
Our center was injured. He wasn't 100%. He was probably maybe.
But that young boy Williams
75.
with the dreads, that center,
Yeah.
he was solid. He's
That's the guy.
Yeah,
he was about 75% maybe. He wasn't like 100%. He
right.
had a bad knee.
Right.
And there was a guy that looked like you, Derek. The guy that we got. You look at. Did you see that guy?
No.
He reminded me of you though. He's real thin. We got him in the trade before the trade deadline from. I'm trying to think what team. Was it San Antonio? Some team, and he was outstanding with 3-point shots. If you go back and look, you'll see the resemblance between you and him.
Maybe the light skinness, maybe the olive skin, but
no, he was thin like you, and I don't want to pick on you.
Yeah,
but
don't pick on me.
I'm not picking on it, but really there was a resemblance. I'm trying to be honest.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that's sports. Sports is important. The thing that surprised me though is the NBA ended before hockey. Usually hockey, the NHL is playing. They're in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup, and usually the NHL finishes first. I thought before the NBA.
Well, with the whole pandemic and everything, they had the schedules of everything got switched, so it's kind of.
We're still talking about that pandemic, huh?
I mean, the pandemic affected the way we look at things today and how we address things today because it created that bubble. You know what I'm saying? It shortened the NBA season. It affected the NFL, so it's not something that we can just overlook.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be.
It pushed the Super Bowl back.
Less and less a topic, though. The pandemic in the future. I think
there'll be another one.
Well, COVID is always going to be around, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like the flu, but I mean, and there's probably going to be more COVIDs,
mm-hmm.
Worse maybe. But I think with this COVID, there'll be less and less panic because, remember, young people weren't affected, children, teenagers, 35-year-olds, 40,
But Pfizer's trying to give toddlers shots now.
I'm against that, man.
Are you?
I'm against that.
Why?
I just don't think. If you're not really going to get sick from it, why do you give them shots? Come on.
I mean, it's
not like the chicken pox. It's not like the other vaccines we got when we were little. Come on.
What's up with the monkeypox?
Monkeypox.
Yeah, you didn't hear about that? Monkeypox going around?
Yeah, I don't know what the monkeypox.
Yeah, me neither.
But anyway, I think we should have Children's Day like Mother's Day and Father's Day. I think children are
It's called Christmas.
Oh, come on. But I think children are going through more now today than any time in history.
Absolutely. There's so much youth that are going through a level of mental illness right now. It's just crazy. And there's so many depressed kids. And I don't think the solution for our youth being, going through all this mental distress and depression, I don't think the answer is always pumping them full of meds.
One time in American history, we had a problem with child labor, children working, like when they were like 10, 11, like real little. And the government had to restrict that, because, some of them lost limbs,
Yeah.
in these factories and stuff. But now we have a different problem. We have children suffering in different ways, like you said, emotionally, mental illness, things like that, depression, suicide, gun shootings. Look at the schools.
The crime.
Look at the children dying in these schools, in these places. I mean, it's just like crazy.
What's your theological opinion on how we could address those school shootings and straighten that out some?
They have to have armed guards at the schools now. There's no doubt about it. Even some churches. I mean, I'm for armed guard protection. I don't care what it looks like, but you got to protect these schools. You got to protect these kids. These are kids. These are like
this is our future.
That was third grade. All those kids got
Oh,
down.
you talking about it in Uvalde, Texas?
Yeah, Texas. I mean, this is no child should die like that. No child should die like that. That's just ridiculous.
No child should go hungry either.
No child should go hungry, of course. But I mean, I think we're doing a pretty good job with hunger, But I mean, like feeding the hungry. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, we need to have a Children's Day, just like a Mother's Day and a Father's Day.
I think we do, because we spend enough money on our kids, especially when it comes to Christmas.
Christmas isn't just for kids. Come on.
Why ain't it?
It's for everybody. It's a holiday for everybody.
I haven't celebrated Christmas as an adult. Well, maybe because
you got to go to some Christmas parties.
I'm never invited. Nobody invites me anywhere.
Oh, you're popular around here. I don't know. But yeah. So the sports, I guess, just finishing up on the sports. The Red Sox are hot though. The Boston.
Oh yeah.
Boston. It's Boston. BAASTAN. Boston. The Boston Red Sox are hot.
Yeah.
Baseball. That's all we got really now. I mean, hockey's going to be over in a couple days, and then we're just.
And then we got about 90 days before the NFL.
Then we're just going to truck with baseball until August, until the NFL. Everybody wakes up, though, with the NFL.
Oh, NFL, everybody gets riled up.
Yeah, especially in Ohio, PA, West Virginia. These guys are animals when it comes to football around here.
Yeah, man.
But New England is like, they're into their seasonal sports.
Yeah.
They're into baseball now.
But, they always have a competitive team every year.
Yeah, they got good pro sports. I will say that about Boston. Hockey, they make the playoffs. Celtics were good. Baseball's good. Football, I don't know.
It's going to be shaky. The Patriots are going to be shaky this year.
I don't know about General Belichick.
You think it's time for him to let it go?
We're going to give him another year probably. They're going to probably give him another year or so. But, he's got this kid that's a great quarterback, and you can't mess this kid up.
What, Mac Jones?
Yeah, he needs somebody. He's going to need a good. We don't have an offensive coordinator yet, as far as I know. No defensive coordinator. I mean, Belichick is really running the show there. He's a GM. I mean,
he's got on a lot of hats.
I just don't. I just hope he doesn't turn this team into another Cleveland Browns team that he coached way back.
But that Cleveland team had success when he was there.
You know that Cleveland.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Bernie Kosar, Bernie Kosar got he ruined his career, didn't he? Bernie Kosar.
I think Bernie Kosar
He got rid of Kosar for Danielson, didn't he? Bernie Kosar.
Nah.
He didn't like Bernie. I don't know. They didn't get along or something. There was some conflict there.
I think it was just solely off of the fact that he didn't like the way he threw.
And this was after Bernie Kosar, almost went to the Super Bowl. Remember they got beat by Denver a couple times. Johnny Elway. Kosar came pretty close to getting the Browns to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean,
times.
Closer. They haven't been that close since Bernie. I don't think.
Baker had him a game away, right?
Baker.
Or 2 games away.
I think Baker was 2 games away. I like Baker, brother. I think Baker's going to have another good. He's going to have a future with somebody else, but give Baker another chance. Baker, he played well. He was injured last year.
Yeah.
So he played injured, and I know the Browns owner or whoever it is, general
Jim
manager,
Haslett.
He got impatient, so they got Watson now. But I mean,
Watson is probably going to look at being suspended for this year. So it's like you don't have no salt.
He's got some baggage from the court cases. But I mean, 20 of the cases have been settled. I read.
Yeah, all of them but a couple. All of them but 2.
There's a few left, so we'll see what happens. But I think they're going to let him play. I just
talk about a happy ending. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Baker wants to come up off the bench, but
they're not going to. Baker's going to go to another team.
Yeah, where do you think he'd make a good fit at?
I think he's going to go to Seattle. I think you'll see Baker in Seattle.
Yeah,
I think he's a good guy too. I mean, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, the organization, the front office called him immature though.
Well, I think he was.
He spent too much time with those progressive commercials.
Well, I think he spoke a lot. I think a lot of people didn't like his brash speaking style.
But the city needed that though. Not everybody can.
But he's not a drunk like the guy they drafted previously.
Who was the drunk that he previously?
Yeah, the guy from Texas A&M.
Johnny Manziel.
The little guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
He had alcohol issues. But I mean, man, Baker he's got a lovely wife. I mean, he's a good guy. I mean, he seems like a nice guy. I don't know. Give him a chance. Let's give him a chance.
I definitely think he deserves a second chance, man.
Yeah, let's give him a chance, but not in Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's his place. Seattle's his. I think we'll go to Seattle.
Yeah.
It's a nice place. Well, I don't know. It rains too much out there. They play indoors, though, don't they?
Who? Cleveland?
No, Seattle.
Seattle?
'Cause
No,
of the
it's like
rain.
half covered. It's
Oh,
like
it's half?
partially covered.
Oh,
like it's a
okay.
hole on the top. Kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the way Dallas's is, but not necessarily as nice as Dallas's.
I like the USFL too. I watched some of that stuff. It's going on now.
Yeah.
USFL.
Yeah, we got a couple players from Steubenville playing in that.
Steubenville. We live in Steubenville.
Yeah, Steubenville, Ohio.
Fort Steuben, based on Fort.
So yeah, with that being said, the 4th of July is coming up here, and I'm gonna
Next
go.
week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna go live and show you this same site that you see right here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. Let me see if I can do. Okay, about right. You'll see about right around here is where the fireworks will be coming off from. So I'm gonna go live from this channel, Heavy is the Crowd, and I'm gonna go live and I'm gonna show you guys this same view, and you guys are gonna be able to watch the fireworks from my point of view, which is this right here. So I encourage you guys, if you can't make it to any type of fireworks that day and you're stuck at home or what have you, I'm going to be providing fireworks, the view of the fireworks for you guys. It's going to be coming right over this horizon. So you're going to have one of the better views, in the valley of the Steubenville fireworks. I'm going to be providing that for you on the 4th at dusk. So, it's not going to be no, drunken pod or serious pod or, nothing like that. I'm just going to go live and show you guys that angle, try to bless you guys with something. Hopefully maybe you guys will bless the Cash App. It's DelTha510.
Yeah. We got to bump up that cash a little bit.
Yeah, that Cash App, man. You know what I'm saying? Throw your boy a buck,
Unless we can get commercials, I don't know.
I would love to sponsor anybody. If anybody wants sponsored, for a small donation of, $40, I'll talk about whatever you got going on for the next couple of episodes. You know what I mean? I'll promote your product. Hey, even if you got something going on that you want to talk about, a business or anything, you want me to shout them out, or if you even like to come on to the show, reach out to me at DelTha510 at Gmail. It's the same as the Cash App. But I might quite possibly get back to you a little bit quicker if you hit the cashy.
So you want to read this other poem?
Absolutely. You got 2 poems. Let's get that other poem and then give us some theologic wisdom to go on, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, we're moving right on.
Because I want you back for the holiday.
Holiday?
The next holiday we got. We didn't talk about Juneteenth. Don't worry about that.
Oh, I think
I'm saying.
I think we should celebrate the end of slavery, don't you?
Yeah, we do. But it's just another distraction. It's another way for corporate entities to make money
Really?
off of the
Okay.
minorities.
So you know more about that than me. I don't know about the corporate stuff. But anyway, this poem it's about a friend that I have in Iran, and she's Persian. You know, in Iran.
Persian women are beautiful.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Most of the population, by the way, in Iran are younger people. Vast majority. They have a really young workforce in Iran. Anyway, she's Persian, and she's, probably right now she's in her mid-20s, maybe.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, I don't want to mention her name, but this is a true story. This poem is a true story.
She knows who she is if she's tuned in and y'all still in contact.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, young lady.
Yeah. But anyway, she had a tough time in her life before college, okay? And she took too many sleeping pills. Deliberately, intentionally.
Okay, it wasn't just because she was having problems with sleep. She was going through a...
I think she had a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of emotional. I don't know if it's the religion. I don't know. I think some of it's related to the religion and the rules of the Muslim.
A Muslim tradition.
Yeah.
Do you think as
I know a little bit about that, by the way, but
yeah,
they have a lot of strict.
Very strict. Very strict.
Yeah.
Do you think as a society
Islam.
we have become weaker mentally, or you just think the stresses of life have become greater over time?
Stresses of life. I think stress is a lot easier for people in America than it was like in my parents' generation.
Right, before social media. I think once social media really took off in the late 2000s, I think that's where things really started getting bad just for society and the generations that came at that time and after that.
Yeah, now, there's stress now, of course, but it seems like stress can be controlled more now than before. There's medicine now for high blood pressure. There's all kinds of, I think, ways to cope with stress and pressure. You got counseling now, a lot of counseling going on, for stressed people. I think there's more education on diet, exercise, things like that. And not to the extreme. You don't have to be a diet Nazi or an exercise Nazi. You can do things basic. I don't think you have to really kill yourself. But there's a lot of education on that now.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was going through a hard time, and she told me about it, and then I wrote a poem about it, and this is the poem about her situation.
You want to hear it? Here it go.
And what happened. And yeah, she almost. I just will say one last thing. She almost died. She almost died
From that taking all that sleep medication.
Yeah, the pills. Okay, so here we go. There was death in her eyes as she lay frozen cold, bleakly chilled, and tucked in a hospital bed. The sun would rise and set 5 days in her hospital tomb, a bed tomb with death all over it. The doctors gave her little hope, a chance of only 5% to live and breathe. Logic and science was dark with despair as the Persian beauty slept on. But then after 5 days, the miracle happened. She woke up. Nobody had counted on the letter to Persia with love. That's the name of the poem, by the way, to Persia with love. I forgot to tell you. Her letter was full of life that ran through her Persian blood. So fresh, so pure was this message, a message of love that woke her up. Signed with the name of Jesus Christ, his return address only said heaven. Now awake, the Persian beauty's eyes shined with new life. a life with cheeks so full and lips so even. Yes, the Persian beauty had finally come to life, and today she now moves so gracefully, with a marvelous life of wonder and color, and ever so thankful that she received a letter to Persia with love. Yeah, my apology. I should have mentioned that the title of the poem was To Persia with Love. When you read poetry, you don't want to, like.
Yeah. I think those were awesome poems.
Say
that you
that
read
in the
off.
middle of the poem that I forgot to tell you the title.
I definitely think the crowd enjoyed it as well.
I hope the crowd, I feel bad because I had to interject the title in the middle of the poem.
It's all right, my man. The crowd appreciates that. So yeah, let me give you the word of the day before we get. You know what I'm saying?
Word of the day, yeah.
I'll give you the word of the day. Then then I want you to maybe close out with some theological wisdom that we can live by and move forward with. And
I got a little theology I can give you.
okay, cool. So yeah, let me go ahead and give you guys the word of the day. And the word of the day is brought to you in part by the beat that I'm about to play. And that is trying to get the beat to play.
And the beat goes on.
And the beat goes on.
Dun, 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 dun. Can they hear us?
Yeah, they can hear us.
Oh, wow. And the beat goes on.
Get the beat loaded up.
I forgot who sang that song. And the beat. That was a song in the '60s. And the beat goes on.
I thought that was in the '80s. And the beat goes on.
It might have been a redo.
And the beat goes on.
They do a lot of redos of songs.
Oh yeah, you find it more now than ever.
Like This Magic Moment. Remember that song? That was a redo. This magic moment. Maybe we'll do that next time.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to make sure, maybe not necessarily the 4th of July, but whatever holiday we got next, I need you here for. You know what I'm saying? You're a staple for Heavy is the Crowd when it comes to, the holidays and the knowledge that you provide for us. It's awesome. You're a breath of fresh air to these tense situations that we have on the pod when we get into heated discussions and things of that sort. And sometimes we clown around too much, but I think we got a nice even plane. You know what I'm saying? We have, it's a good feels. It's a good feels.
We got the even keel going.
Yeah. All right, Heavy is the Crowd, y'all, and I got the word of the day for you. Shout out to my man Jag the Apostle for blessing me with the beat. And the word of the day is Vanguard. All right, Vanguard.
Vanguard.
And the definition of Vanguard is the forefront in any movement, field, activity, or the likeness. You know what I mean? It's Vanguard is the forefront in any movement, field, or activity. Yeah, man. So that's what that is.
Vanguard.
Yeah. Thoughts about that word? Any thoughts or comments about that word?
I'm trying to put it into a good example. You probably got a better example than me. Is there any way we could apply it to our current affairs situation, our news?
Well, I mean, I could just say
situation.
Vanguard, being that it's a noun, I think Vanguard really describes Heavy is the Crowd well. You know what I'm saying? Because I would like to think that Heavy is the Crowd, this podcast, is at the forefront of a movement, that a lot of people have joined in on, 163 of y'all to be specific up to this point. And I want to thank all y'all for, tuning in up to this point, So
thank you for tuning in.
Yeah,
and
man.
Hearing the Lonely Dandelion, which is me, really, sometimes.
Yeah. I think we all are a lonely dandelion at times.
At times we are. We have to be careful.
Absolutely.
That we don't get run over.
Or made into a fine wine. Yeah. So yeah, that's what that is. So yeah, let's cause we wanted to not drag this out too long. So I think we covered some good things. And
Yeah.
I definitely myself and I think the crowd would definitely appreciate the closing segment of this to be a thoughtful verbiage by you that is theological.
Okay.
So go ahead and take a minute and talk that stuff.
Okay, here's what I was reflecting on in terms of the theological for tonight.
All right.
Who do we choose as our heroes? You know, we need heroes. Heroes motivate us. They're not hypocrites. Our heroes basically do what they say. They stand up for us, or they're an example for us. They motivate us. You know, we kind of like want to listen to our heroes. We want to follow our heroes. And see, my hero is Jesus Christ. I mean, I do. There's really, other people that inspire me in life. Human beings, sports people. Mostly sports people. I'm not really like politicians. Good ones are really hard for me to find. That are my heroes. You know what I mean?
I like Trey Gowdy.
Trey Gowdy.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm not a Trey Gowdy fan.
Yeah.
I was thinking about politicians the other day, and who are my heroes, and I couldn't think of any. I really couldn't think of any.
Yeah. I wouldn't consider him necessarily a hero. I just kind of like, the way he'd be doing things sometimes. But go ahead.
And probably, just lastly to say this about the politicians is because they seem extremists either way, right or left. I'm kind of like in the middle. I'm a moderate person. I'm an independent. I'm registered as an independent to vote. So that's the way I am politically. But when it comes to really my true hero, it's Christ, because I can count on Christ every day. I can talk to Christ, my Lord and Savior. I can talk to him. He put the world behind him and the cross before him. Now, what does that mean? That means something very deep to me. That means something that he was willing to risk his life, and die on a cross, rather than just give in to anything and go around in the world. And he definitely told the truth. He's not gonna
he ain't gonna lie to kick it.
He's not gonna parse. He's not gonna pander, and he didn't care about money. Not like certainly he didn't live in a capitalist society, but a capitalist society isn't bad. He wouldn't like knock that, because he gives parables about investing, money and stuff. But but it is hard for the rich, I think, to the rich basically are going to be judged. I wouldn't say harshly, but they're going to be judged pretty closely. Let's just say that. But Christ was basically about helping people, loving people, giving life to people. You know what I mean? Giving life. See, life is really important. That's why, this has been kind of a tough week for me too, because I've had to basically get into these discussions on life. But life is a good thing. Life is a good thing. If we don't have life, we have nothing, really. We have nothing. And what gives life? It's love. Christ gives life. Through his love, he gives life. And that's why we need to talk to him and ask him to help us. You know what I mean? And yeah, we can have our other heroes. I love my sports heroes. I love these guys that work hard for their art, their talent. You know what I mean? By the way, I like artists too, and musicians as heroes. I love them for that too. I'm more of an art guy than really like this politician type hero guy. You know what I mean? I'm not really into that. Lawyers, I'm not really a fan of lawyers.
It's kind of a necessary evil, though.
Yeah, it's hard for me to be, me personally. I'm just saying, me personally, it's hard for me to really follow or be inspired by lawyers, people that lead things politically. Even like government workers. You know what I mean? Like some of those people. It's hard for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, not everybody. But I do like the artists. I like artists because they really express who they are in the way they do music or the way they write or the way they sing. Same as painters, sculptors, same thing. Sometimes I'm inspired by people that love animals, the way they treat their animals, the way they guide them, and they love them, you know what I mean? And see, love is big, and artists do that in their music, and singers and musicians, and so I think the key is to love, and Christ had it all. He had it all. He loved all those people. He loved the person basically that, that was counted out, that was kind of ostracized. The wallflower, the person, to the side. He kind of reached out to that person. Made them feel comfortable, so they have some company. And so he's an example. He's not hypocritical. He doesn't do one thing but not another. He does everything. So. And like I said, he faced the cross. He put the world behind him. He said, I don't need to be famous. I don't need to have all this money or whatever, I don't need to be in the news every day like Tesla, you know what I mean? Not Tesla, but the other guy, Musk.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, I don't need to be in the news every day. I think Elon Musk is I think basically he's trying, but I mean, I think he likes to be in the news every day.
He likes the attention.
I think he likes the attention.
If he didn't like the attention so much, he wouldn't have got his hairline redone.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to do good. I don't think he's not doing any good. I think he's going to do some good. So yeah, but I think we need Christ as our hero, our overall hero. Even though he's invisible, but someday he will be visible to us. In the next life. So that's just my thoughts on that, and us as human beings, we can transcend. We can basically envision or rise above our physicality, and pray. Talk to Christ, ask Christ to help us. Because we're capable as human beings. We are animals, but we're capable as that human animal being to transcend or envision another world after life on Earth, the next life. And really, isn't that what religion's about? Religion really is about the next life. We believe in something after death. We believe in the next life. That's why I think it's important, to have beliefs. People, of course, people can believe whatever they want. If they want to believe that when they die they just stay in the ground, they can have that belief, and maybe they'll be closed off from the next life like heaven. That would be sad to me, but I think you can believe what you want and have hope, and I think hope is the key. And I don't think God would have put us here if there wasn't a next life. I don't think God would just leave us here suffering some days. Some days we suffer, we have hard times. I don't think God would leave us in that position. I think he wants us to be someday with him forever happy, if we just acknowledge him, if we just ask him to help us, to follow him. And I don't think I'm not talking about extremes here. I'm not talking about being a fanatic. I'm just talking about the basics, like communicating to him as a friend, just like anyone else. That's all I'm saying. And in the way you want. Sometimes, I find myself just using, regular language, sometimes it's not good either,
Yeah.
Like,
but of course, I don't think
the whys, why, what are you doing here?
Right.
But he understands, I think. I believe it. I believe Christ, listened to his Father in heaven and obeyed him and took the cross route. He had to take the route to the cross, his death for us. So that's all I'm saying. If I rambled on, I apologize.
No, you didn't ramble on at all. It was just long overdue. You know what I'm saying? That our interaction was long overdue. People enjoy this. Like I said, it's a breath of fresh air compared to how the other pods be going. And I definitely want to thank you for stopping by. And we have to, I think we need to work on our consistency of making sure that we appear for the masses on holidays, because I feel like that is definitely one of your strong points. You know what I'm saying? On a holiday, being able to just express yourself and putting that theological spin to the thought process and expressing yourself to the people. And there hasn't been a bad review yet. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy having you up there as the main screen. You know what I'm saying? As soon as somebody hits the channel, this will be the newest one. You know, as soon as you go to my channel, you see that opening video. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I've always had our podcast that we've done as that main video. I think the one that was up to this point was sepulchral. That was the word of the day, sepulchral. Yeah, but I had you up there for that. So I think this one here will be the new cover video for everyone to watch when they first check out my channel. So,
well, you always do a good job as a producer. I know that. You know what's going on. You know all the technicalities here.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Working on this craft, you know, sometimes I go in the drunken rants. Sometimes I just sit back and try to be the best listener I can because, you know, sometimes I find myself just like any other person, only hearing you to respond and not listening. You know, at times, you know, I think it happens to all of us. You know, I'm not listening to learn. I'm just listening to respond. So, you know, it's just stuff we're working on, man. You can do what you want to do in living color.
Yeah, we're in living color, that's for sure.
We're in living color, man, on YouTube, man. So, yeah, that's what it is, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, July 4th at dusk, I will be going live from this angle that you see here, where you'll be able to see the fireworks light and bright. I encourage you guys to tune in. If you can't get anywhere to a good seat to be able to see it, I'll be providing it for you. You know, in the meantime, you know, I'm not necessarily where I need to be, and all the money goes right back into the game. So, hey, man, if you got a Cash App, you know what I'm saying, bless the Cashy, man. Bless the Cashy, DelTha510. If you want me to promote your business, I can. You know, for a small donation, if you guys want to come on to the show and talk your stuff, you know, there's also other avenues that I have to where I can go on the StreamYard and you guys can log in from your phone and they can see you during the pod and we can have podcasts and we can talk and you guys can express yourself, you know, your opinions and views that way. And you don't necessarily have to be in studio. I mean, it's always good to be in studio. It's a nice interaction to have, but it don't always got to be that way. You know what I'm saying? Try to make it more accessible, you know, for everyone. You need to reach out to me, DelTha510, the same as the Cash App, at gmail.com. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank my main man, George the Theologian, for stopping by again. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we're just going to end it right there, man. I think this was a great build, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. You got to work to eat and hustle to live. It's your main man, most blind. Heavy is the crowd.
The crowd is heavy.
I'll see you on the 4th.